I thought I was doing the responsible thing, until my wife turned me into the villain. We've been struggling with money lately. Groceries cost more, gas keeps going up, and every month, the bills hit harder. I work full-time, sometimes take side gigs just to stay ahead. My wife works part-time, and honestly, I don't mind that. I just wanted us to feel safe and not worry about money every single day. Her brother moved in with us last year. At first, I didn't think it'd be a big deal. He said it was just for a few weeks while he got back on his feet. Weeks turned into months. He sleeps in our guest room, eats our food, uses our Wi-Fi, electricity, everything. But not once has he offered to help with rent, utilities, or even groceries. He just lounges around, watches Netflix, and plays video games. So finally, I said something. I pulled him aside calmly and asked if he could start contributing even a small amount toward rent or food. I told him, we're feeling it hard right now. Anything helps. That's all I said. I wasn't rude. I wasn't aggressive. But somehow my wife exploded. She said I was being mean, harsh, and unfair. She accused me of trying to kick her brother out, of not having empathy, of being cold. I was stunned. I thought she'd support me. After all, I'm the one carrying most of the load. It got worse. She stopped speaking to me properly. Meals became tense. I felt like a stranger in my own house. Her brother acted like nothing happened. He didn't change a thing. If anything, he got more smug, like he knew I wasn't allowed to say anything else. One night, I was using her laptop to look up something, and I saw messages between her and a friend. She admitted her brother was making money, doing freelance gigs online, but didn't want to pay rent because he was saving to move out eventually. She knew. She'd known for months. That broke me a little. I sat them both down. I said, I'm done being the bad guy in my own house. Either he contributes or he finds somewhere else to go. My wife screamed at me, called me controlling, said I was trying to tear her family apart. And maybe I was, but I didn't ask for any of this. Now we barely talk. I sleep in the living room some nights. The house feels heavy. I still go to work, still pay the bills, still buy the groceries. Her brother still doesn't pay a dime. And I keep asking myself, was I wrong for wanting basic fairness in my own home? So yeah, internet strangers. Am I the asshole for asking a grown man to pay rent? My wife called me heartless because I asked her brother to help out with money. He's been living with us for over a year now. When he first moved in, it was supposed to be temporary, just a couple of months while he looked for a job. That was the plan. But months passed and nothing changed. No job, no interviews, no effort. He just sleeps late, plays video games all day, and somehow has energy to go out with friends at night. Meanwhile, I'm the one working full-time, picking up extra shifts, even selling a few of my own things to help cover the bills. I've drained most of my savings to keep things going. My wife knows all this. She sees me come home exhausted. She knows I skip lunch some days just to stretch our budget. So I finally brought it up. I told her gently, hey, maybe it's time your brother helped out, even just with groceries or the electric bill. I wasn't angry. I just couldn't carry the weight alone anymore. But she snapped. She said I was cruel, that I had no compassion, that her brother was going through a rough time. She told me I was being selfish and that I didn't understand how hard things were for him. I stood there in shock. How could she ignore everything I've been sacrificing? She treats him like a child. She makes his meals, does his laundry, even defends him when he messes things up around the house. It's like she's his mom, not his sister. I've tried to be patient, but it feels like I'm the only adult here. That night, we had a huge fight. She said I only care about money. That hurt. She made me feel like a monster, like I was attacking her family when all I did was ask for help. I started to doubt myself, like maybe I really was being too harsh. But the next morning, I saw him lying on the couch, still gaming, still carefree, still contributing nothing. And something just clicked. Why am I the one who feels guilty? I'm the one keeping this house running. I'm the one sacrificing every day. And yet I'm the villain? I didn't say anything else that day. I just kept my thoughts to myself. But I started thinking, really thinking, about what kind of marriage this is becoming. I feel like I'm raising two kids, one lazy, one blind to it all. Lately, I've been quietly looking up therapists. Maybe couples therapy, maybe solo. I don't know. I love my wife, but I can't keep doing this alone. I feel invisible, disrespected, used. I haven't told her how I feel yet. I don't even know how to start that conversation. But I do know one thing. Something has to change. He lived in our house rent-free for 2 years. I finally said, enough. It started small. My wife's younger brother lost his job and needed a place to stay. I agreed, of course. Family helps family. He was polite back then, said thank you, promised it would be just a couple months until he got back on his feet. That was over 2 years ago. In that time, he never once offered to pay rent, never helped with bills, barely cleaned up after himself. He used the kitchen like it was his own personal restaurant, left dishes everywhere, and always had snacks delivered while we were budgeting every dollar. At first, I tried to be patient. My wife kept saying, "He just needs more time." But time kept passing. He didn't apply for jobs. He played video games late into the night. He slept in until noon. And every time I brought it up, my wife got defensive, like I was attacking her personally. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. Her family has always leaned on her. I remember when we were dating, she used to lend her brother money she never got back. She'd cancel plans with me to drive him around. I thought she was just being kind. I didn't realize it was a pattern. It all came crashing down a few weeks ago. I'd saved up to buy a watch. Nothing flashy, just something I'd wanted for a while. It was a gift to myself after hitting a milestone at work. I kept it in our bedroom, in the box. One day, I came home and noticed it was missing. Her brother had taken it, said he needed quick cash and pawned it. When I confronted him, he didn't even apologize. He said, "It's not like you needed it." My wife tried to calm things down, saying he was desperate, and that we'd get the watch back. That was it for me. I told her calmly but firmly, "This can't go on. He either starts paying rent and respects our home, or he leaves." She cried, said she felt like she was choosing between her husband and her brother. She said he had no one else. I said, "And what about me? I've been carrying this house. I've been trying to hold us together while he tears it apart." A few days later, I talked to a friend, someone outside the situation. He said, "You're not being cruel. You're setting boundaries." That stuck with me. I also spoke with my own parents. They told me I've always been generous, sometimes too much. And maybe this time, enough was enough. Now, I've drawn the line. I told her brother he has 1 month to move out. No more excuses. No more enabling. I don't know what this will do to my marriage, but I do know I can't keep living like that. Sometimes the only way to fix something is to stop breaking yourself. I paid the bills. He played Xbox. And then I was the one who got yelled at. For over a year, I carried this house on my back. Rent, utilities, food, car payments, everything. I didn't complain much. I just wanted us to live in peace, even if it meant sacrificing some of the things I want. My wife's brother had moved in, just for a while, and I figured it wouldn't last long. But it did. He never worked, never applied anywhere. Every day was the same. Sleep until noon, get up, sit on the couch, and play Xbox for hours. He used my Wi-Fi, ate our food, left trash everywhere, and when I asked him to clean up, he acted like I was being dramatic. Meanwhile, I was pulling 10-hour shifts, doing side work on weekends just to keep us going. I gave up hobbies, vacations, everything. I skipped meals sometimes so we wouldn't go into the red. But I told myself it was temporary. Then I got laid off. Company cuts. No warning. 1 minute I was making it work. The next I was trying to figure out how to pay rent with no income. I came home that day and broke the news to my wife. I expected concern. Maybe a plan. Instead, she looked at me and said, "Well, maybe now you understand how hard things have been for my brother." I stood there in shock. I lost my job, and she was still defending him? That night, I said to him, "Man, I'm out of work. Think you can help out? Even a little?" He just shrugged and said, "I'll see what I can do," then went back to his game. That was the moment something in me shifted. I felt angry, sure, but deeper than that, I felt invisible, unseen. Like everything I'd done didn't matter. I was just the guy who paid for everything until I couldn't, and now I was just in the way. So I started making quiet moves. I opened a new bank account. I rerouted my last unemployment check there. I paused the joint card. I started tracking every dollar, just for me. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell anyone. Then last week, I made a decision. I sat her down and said, "I can't keep doing this. I'm struggling, and all I get from you is blame. If you're going to keep choosing him, I need to choose myself." She cried, said I was overreacting, said I was being cold, but I was done feeling like a stranger in my own house. I'm not sure what happens next. Maybe we try counseling. Maybe we separate. All I know is, I can't keep paying the price for someone else's comfort. Not anymore. She said I embarrassed her brother. I just told him to buy his own food. It started with a frozen pizza. We were at the grocery store, just picking up a few things. I was pushing the cart, my wife walking next to me, and her brother trailing behind with headphones on. He kept tossing things into the cart without saying a word. Energy drinks, chips, frozen meals, some weird protein bars that cost like $8 each. I looked at him and said, "Hey man, maybe you could start buying your own snacks, yeah?" Just like that. Calm. Casual. He froze like I'd slapped him. Then my wife turned to me, her eyes wide. "Are you serious right now? In public?" She hissed, like I'd just called him a slur. "You embarrassed him." I stood there, holding a box of cereal, wondering what alternate universe I had walked into. Let me back up a bit. Her brother has lived with us for about 18 months. He's 29. No job, no plans, no alarm clock. He's turned our guest room into some kind of gamer cave, complete with LED lights and anime posters. I don't even think he knows what day of the week it is half the time. I've tried to be nice. I've cooked for him, helped him with his resume. He never used it. Even gave him a ride to one job interview. He skipped it to stay home and reset his sleep schedule. He eats everything in the house. Sometimes I come home and my leftovers are gone. So yeah, I told him to start buying his own food. Apparently, that was too far. My wife gave me the silent treatment for 2 days. Meanwhile, he acted like he was the victim of some great injustice. He even posted a vague quote on Facebook like, "Real ones don't keep score." Okay, buddy. That's when I started keeping score. I saved every receipt, every text, every passive-aggressive sticky note he left on the fridge. I even took a picture when he left 6 empty soda cans on the coffee table like a shrine to laziness. I created a folder labeled evidence. And last night I used it. I sat down with my wife. Calm. Cool. I showed her the grocery bill, up 40% since he moved in. Showed her texts where I asked him to contribute. Showed her screenshots of his late-night gaming sprees while I was working overtime. She said I was being petty. I said I was being done. And then, the cherry on top, I logged into our shared streaming account and removed his profile. Cancelled Netflix entirely. He texted me, "Yo bro, why'd my show log out?" I replied, "It's your turn to pay for it." He hasn't said a word since. The house has never been quieter. Sometimes, peace costs $15.99 a month. Worth every penny. He refused to get a job. I gave him an ultimatum. My wife gave me one back. For the past year and a half, I've watched her brother sleep all day, play video games all night, and live off the food and electricity I pay for. When he moved in, it was supposed to be a short stay. But short turned into endless. And "I just need some time" turned into "Why are you always on my case?" I tried to be patient. I really did. I gave him space, offered to help with job applications, even suggested easy work-from-home stuff he could do. He always had an excuse. Too tired. Too stressed. No one's hiring right now, man. Meanwhile, I'm working 2 jobs. Coming home to a house that's a mess. Hearing him complain that the Wi-Fi is slow while I'm trying to figure out how to make rent and still buy groceries. I finally hit my limit last week. I sat down with my wife. I told her, this can't go on. He's got 2 months to get a job or move out. I expected her to be upset. But I didn't expect what came next. She looked at me cold and said, "If he goes, I go." It felt like a punch to the chest. She started crying, talking about their childhood, how he was always left behind, how she promised their mom she'd take care of him. She said he's not lazy, he's just struggling, and I don't understand. I reminded her he's a grown man, that he's not even trying to help, that I'm drowning trying to support 3 people. She said I was heartless. That night, I scrolled through her texts when she left her phone on the couch. I know I shouldn't have, but I had to understand. I found messages between her and her brother. Her, he's pushing again. I don't know what to do. Him, you said you'd always have my back. You're all I have. Her, I won't let him kick you out. I promise. Him, then maybe we both need to leave. I felt sick. I wasn't just fighting with my wife. I was losing her to him. I spent the next few days thinking, overthinking. Could I keep doing this? Keep sacrificing while being made out to be the bad guy? Yesterday, I told her, if you choose to leave, I won't stop you. But I won't keep living like this. She stared at me for a long time, then quietly said, I need to do what's right. This morning, I woke up and her stuff was gone. So was his. No note. Just silence. I'm sitting in the kitchen now. It's quiet. Empty. And I don't know if I just lost my marriage or finally got my life back. I found out my brother-in-law was secretly making money. My wife knew. For almost a year, he's lived in our house rent-free. No job, no help with bills, just sitting around on his laptop or gaming all day. My wife always said he was going through a hard time. I believed her. I didn't want to be the bad guy, so I kept paying the bills, covering groceries, keeping the peace. But little things started to feel off. I noticed he was getting a lot of packages, random electronics, gadgets, new clothes. He'd shrug and say they were gifts from friends. I wasn't buying it. One day while he was out, a delivery came. The guy asked me to sign for resale inventory. That raised a red flag. I started watching more closely. I saw one of his packages open, with sneaker boxes and rare collectibles. Expensive stuff. And then I found a bank statement left on the table by accident. It wasn't mine. It wasn't my wife's. It was his. And it showed regular PayPal deposits. Hundreds of dollars at a time. 1 week, over $1,200. I took pictures, printed it out, started keeping track. I found his crypto wallet on a shared computer and checked the balance. It was way more than I expected. He was making money. He had been all along. I brought it to my wife, thinking she'd be shocked. Instead, she looked down and said, I already knew. That was the moment everything changed. She said he didn't want me to know because he wasn't ready to contribute yet, that he was saving up to get out. She said she agreed to let him stay without telling me because you get so worked up about money. I stared at her, speechless. I said, "So I'm just the idiot paying for everything while you two keep secrets?" She didn't answer. Later that night, I recorded our conversation. I didn't plan to use it for anything legal, but I needed to hear it again. I needed proof I wasn't imagining the betrayal. In the recording, she admitted helping him hide packages. Admitted she knew he was flipping items online. Admitted she told him to avoid questions about money around me. I played it back the next day and packed a bag. Not out of anger, just because I needed space to think. Now I'm staying with a friend. I haven't decided what I'll do next. My wife keeps texting. She says it wasn't a big deal and that I'm overreacting. But how do you come back from something like this? It wasn't just the money. It was the lies, the teamwork behind my back, the feeling that I was just the outsider in my own home. They lied. They planned. And now I'm the one who has to clean up the mess. What comes next? I'm still figuring that out. My wife yelled at me for asking her brother to contribute, so I stopped contributing too. It started with one simple question. I asked her brother if he could help with the groceries or the electric bill. He's been living with us for almost a year, rent-free, doing nothing all day. I work full-time, and even with that, things are tight. So I asked. Nicely. He shrugged and mumbled something about still figuring things out. My wife overheard and lost it. She yelled at me, told me I was putting pressure on him, that he was trying his best. I asked her how long we were supposed to carry him. She called me selfish, so I decided to take a step back. No more arguments. No more begging for fairness. I just stopped contributing. No more cleaning up after everyone. No more paying for the streaming services. No more making dinner. I canceled the auto-pay on the gas and internet bills. I unplugged the router and took it with me to work. I only washed my own clothes, made my own meals, and left everyone else to figure it out. At first, they didn't notice. But within a week, the house started falling apart. Dirty dishes piled up. Trash overflowed. Her brother complained there was no hot water. My wife started asking why the lights were flickering. The fridge got empty, and no one did anything about it. I watched quietly. I took notes. Logged every chore I used to do, every bill I paid, every errand I ran. I even took photos of the mess growing day by day. 2 weeks in, she confronted me. "Why are you being passive-aggressive?" she snapped. I said, "I thought we all just contribute what we can. Isn't that what you told me?" She had no answer. She tried to get her brother to help, but he claimed he was too stressed. He ordered takeout every night and left the boxes on the counter. He burned something in the microwave and didn't clean it up. One night, I laid it all out. My marriage audit, as I called it. I showed her the logs, everything I used to do, everything I stopped doing, everything no one else picked up. I told her, I can't be the only adult in this house anymore. She sat in silence for a while, then said, "Maybe we need to talk to someone." So now we're looking into therapy. I'm not sure where this will go. I still love her, but I'm tired of feeling like a stranger in my own home. I wanted partnership. I got parenting duty for a man-child and blame for not liking it. If therapy works, great. If not, I'll figure out what's next. But I'm done carrying everything on my own. They called me the tyrant for wanting to budget. I showed them the bills. It started when I noticed our credit card balance was creeping up. Every month, it got a little worse. I'd pay it down, then boom, another charge for takeout, random Amazon stuff, snacks, game subscriptions. A lot of it wasn't mine. Most of it was from my wife and her brother, who's been living with us for nearly a year. I sat down one weekend and made a spreadsheet. Rent, utilities, groceries, gas, internet, streaming services, everything. I added up the totals and compared it to our income. We were over budget by $400 a month. I showed it to my wife. She barely looked at it. "You're overthinking again," she said. "Everything's fine." But it wasn't fine. I was using my emergency savings to cover basic bills. I hadn't bought new clothes in a year. I was skipping lunch most days just to stretch the budget. Her brother didn't pay a single bill. Not rent, not food, not even his gaming subscriptions. Those were still linked to my card. So I brought it up. I said we needed to sit down and go over the numbers. I even suggested doing a weekly budget meeting. She rolled her eyes. Her brother, who overheard, laughed and called me budget daddy. The next day, she told her family I was being controlling and tight with money. Suddenly, I was the bad guy. They said I was being cold, that I cared more about numbers than people, that I was acting like a tyrant. So I printed everything. I made copies of our credit card statements. I highlighted every non-essential charge. I created a simple breakdown showing exactly who was spending what. I even made pie charts. I put it all in a folder and brought it to the next family dinner. Since they'd all decided to judge me anyway, people were shocked. Her mom actually said, Wait, he paid for your brother's DoorDash 3 nights a week? One of her cousins looked at the grocery totals and said, "Why is half the bill energy drinks and frozen pizza?" Some took my side. Others tried to defend her brother, saying he was trying. But it was clear who'd been paying the bills and who hadn't. After that, things got quiet. My wife was furious. Not because of the truth, but because I made it public. She said I embarrassed her. I told her, "I didn't embarrass you. I showed facts. You just didn't like them." Now I'm sleeping in the guest room. We barely talk. She hasn't apologized. Her brother still hasn't offered to pay anything. I've locked down the finances. New cards, new passwords, everything. I don't know what's going to happen next. But I shared this here because I need honest opinions. What would you have done? I paid for everything. But when I spoke up, I became the enemy. When her brother lost his job, I didn't even think twice. I told him he could stay with us. I picked up extra hours, cooked more meals, even covered some of his personal expenses. I didn't see it as a burden. I saw it as helping family. And that's what you do when you love someone, right? At first, it felt good. I thought I was doing the right thing. He said thank you. My wife called me generous. I believed them. But slowly, something changed. He stopped saying thank you. He started acting like everything I provided was just expected. He made jokes about how he had his own place now, meaning my house. He wouldn't even ask before eating my food or using my thing. I told my wife I was feeling used. She brushed it off. "He's just comfortable here," she said. "You're reading too much into it." So I kept going. I paid for everything. Rent, utilities, food, his subscriptions, even his toiletries. I did the cleaning, the shopping, the cooking. My wife helped sometimes, but mostly it felt like I was carrying the weight alone. Then I snapped one night. We were at dinner, and I asked, "Do you ever plan to help out financially?" I kept my voice calm, respectful, but the silence that followed was loud. He looked shocked. My wife looked angry. After dinner, she accused me of being mean and controlling. She said I was making him feel unwelcome. I told her, "I've been welcoming. I've just also been drowning." That night, I realized something. I wasn't helping anymore. I was being taken for granted. So I started pulling back. I stopped making dinner for everyone, just made enough for myself. I canceled the shared Netflix account. I unplugged the PlayStation I had bought. I said I needed to sell a few things to cover bills, but really, I just didn't want to keep giving and giving while being treated like the bad guy. Emotionally, I checked out too. I stopped sharing my thoughts. Stopped opening up. Every time I had, it turned into me being too negative or too sensitive. Now, I sit in silence most nights, wondering when I stopped being her partner and started being the unpaid provider. I loved her. Still do, maybe. But love without respect doesn't feel like love. One morning last week, I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man looking back. Tired, resentful. I don't know where we go from here. We haven't talked about therapy. We haven't talked at all, really. But I keep asking myself this question. Is love supposed to feel like this?
Hi besties, thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe.